Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. How many birthdays do you have? You're Indian, so you have lots, right? Your star birthday, your passport birthday, your actual birthday. Traditionally, we have 3 birthdays. The first is the day that God is born, as if God is born. That is Mahashivratri. That is our first birthday. The second is when our Guru is born, which we celebrate as Guru Purnima. So February, July generally. And our third birthday is when we are born, this body is born. So that's on our passports. Yes? What are you supposed to do on your birthday? Sleep more, eat more, get more, buy more. Our birthdays are an opportunity to reflect on where we've come from, because then we get oriented to where we need to go. Correct? Like a corporation that forecasts earnings, a government that forecasts job growth. They're projecting. This is how it was. This is how we hope it will be. So we have 3 birthdays where we should think about this. When I think of my 3 birthdays, I do recognize Mahashivratri, Guru Purnima. My 3rd birthday I don't take as the day that this body was born. My 3rd birthday is when I started to give back to Sanatana Dharma, when I started trying to give back. And there's a specific date. It's January 13th, 2008. I had completed the Vedanta course, and I was orienting myself to share some of what I had learned. This January, I'd completed 10 years of trying to serve Sanatana Dharma, so I was thinking a lot, what am I going to do for the next 10 years? So I reflected on a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, and a 10-year plan. And I want to share with you my 1-year plan. My 1-year plan was to speak in as many public places as possible about Sanatana Dharma. And this is a public place also, but for those who may not have access to this. And God has been great. In March, I got to speak at Amazon. A few weeks ago, I spoke at Capital One in Richmond. I spoke at the VA in Chicago. We're working on Microsoft in Seattle also. I've been fortunate to share these thoughts in these hospitals and these corporations. And every time I go to a hospital, to a corporation, I always see a reception area. You always see a reception area. What else do you see in that reception area? So visualize, you're walking into a corporation or to a hospital. What do you see there? Coffee machine. Receptionist. And you tend to see that desk with fake flowers. And behind that desk is a vision statement, isn't it? Maybe a mission statement. The reason for this corporation, to facilitate communication or to improve people's health. Yeah? Okay. So that's the reason why a corporation is there. But we're not here to focus on externalizing any subject. We're here to internalize a subject, to study ourselves. What is the reason you're here? And I'm not talking about right now. I know your kids are here. Lunch is happening afterwards. What is the reason that you're breathing? What is the reason that you're thinking? What is your vision statement? What is your mission statement? We are studying Ramayana, and I want to share with all of you what I feel our vision statement is, what our mission statement is, and how this is flowing through Ramayana. That works? Okay. Our vision statement is called Sanatana Dharma. The word vision means darshana. This is our reason for being here. And Sanatana Dharma can be interpreted as a noun and a verb. As a noun, it is our infinite nature. Sanatana means infinite. Dharma means nature. Our infinite nature. And one expression of having an infinite nature is one is independent then. As long as I'm small, I depend on substances, on people. Hence the propensity for addictions and attachments, isn't it? But our nature is infinite. Now that may be too esoteric. So Sanatana Dharma as a verb is our unchanging responsibility. Sanatana again means unchanging, and Dharma here means responsibility. Our unchanging responsibility is to know that our nature is infinite. We have no other responsibilities other than that. So now all of the parents in the room are thinking, this is great. You know, our kids will let them be free and we'll quit our jobs and so on. Our relative responsibilities have to be leading us to that singular responsibility. And if our relative responsibilities are not, then that's called adharma. It's like if someone is not telling the truth, we politely say, you know, that's a half-truth, but really it's a lie, isn't it? If you just express it in a most black and white way. This is our vision statement. Now, a vision statement naturally has to manifest more, so a mission statement. Even with Chinmay Mission, we have a vision statement, we have a motto, etc. Our mission statement is self-development. Self-development. Right now I feel small s self. When I develop that, I start to tune into big S self. And the Sanskrit word for this is yoga, isn't it? When I say yoga, what do you think of? Lululemon. Vanilla candlesticks. Yoga is not an exercise. Yoga is not controlling your breath. Yoga is self-development. I feel small, but I'm actually infinite, so I have to build up to that infinitude. So our vision statement is Sanatana Dharma, our mission statement is yoga. And if you overlap this on Bhagavad Gita, which I think you're studying, correct? The point of Bhagavad Gita is freedom. And how do you get to freedom? Karma, bhakti, jnana. And we think about this when it comes to assembly lines also. What is the Japanese word for yoga? Kaizen. Doesn't Kaizen mean perpetual betterment, continuous improvement? Yoga is the same. Everyone's with me? Imagine your life. You're sitting at this desk. Why are you here? Vision statement. My responsibility is to know I'm infinitely joyous. How do I do that? Yoga, self-development. But I need to know, how do I do that now, correct? So we come to our action statement. Our action statement is study and discipline. Study means swadhyaya. And that doesn't mean studying physics or the economy. It means studying you. And it's scary, isn't it? What do you see in hotel bathrooms that you don't see in your home bathrooms? What do you see in hotels that you don't see in your home? Be positive, okay? Because people say more cleanliness, more supplies, more towels. A hand dryer, okay, fine. Smaller stuff, so they don't shop at Costco like we do. And over here, someone was sharing. It's organized. Positive. What I see is I see a makeup mirror. In a hotel, you tend to see that makeup mirror with that extension. My home bathroom doesn't have that. The ashram bathroom doesn't have that. And what do people do as soon as they see that makeup mirror? You would take one of those towels and put it on there. That way you don't see yourself closely, isn't it? Then you see places you miss shaving or scars, wrinkles. We don't want to look at our bodies closely, leave alone our minds. True? There's so many people that don't want to go to a physician because they know they're not healthy. They think BMI is only body, mind, intellect. Body mass index, what does that mean? Swadhyaya, a chapter on swa, on myself. And swadhyaya has to then manifest as discipline or tapa. What does tapa mean? Or when I say tapa, what do you think of? Think of tapas, food. We think of Ravana standing on one foot. Tapa means to burn comfort zones. That's what tapa means. Right now you may be sitting around people you know well. Someone engaged in tapa will sit with someone they don't know well. Tapa may be taking up a job that is known to you, that you're comfortable with. That's not tapa, sorry. Tapa is, I want to try being an entrepreneur. I'm going to quit this job and start this business and see what happens. To expand your comfort zone. And I'll use different English words. Swadhyaya, or study, happens in a controlled environment. This is controlled, correct? The person next to you is not going to take your wallet. They're not going to judge you to your face. But once you leave this controlled environment, which is outside, which is the coffee place, is the grocery store, is your workplace, that's uncontrolled, isn't it? Someone will take your parking spot. Someone will judge you to your face. So this is our action statement. We have to get to know who we are, and we need to practice that. Not in a scrimmage, but in the game. Sanatana Dharma, self-development, study and discipline. Vision, mission, action. And all of this is beautifully encompassed, thoughtfully encompassed in the Ramayana. The vision statement is taught, the mission statement is taught, the action statement is taught. Historically, Ramayana is the path of Rama, the ayana of Rama, yes? But I told you, we're not here to study history, we're here to study ourselves. This is not the path of Ramayana only, it's a path to Rama. And Rama means joy, doesn't it? To be infinitely joyous. So the path to joy is literally everything I shared. Action statements to mission statement to vision statement. why I'm so fond of studying Ramayana. On Tuesdays, I teach a virtual class called Meditation in Life. And it's a lovely experience. We have around 200 students from around the world who connect on Tuesday nights. On Thursdays, I facilitate study groups on Upadesha Sara. You have to be part of a study group to connect. We have 30 study groups who connect on Thursdays, including 10 university groups, which makes me very happy. Yale, Carnegie Mellon, Case Western, etc. And Sundays I teach Vedanta and Ramayana to entire centers. So individual study, family study, community study. And this is the toughest class to teach because people feel they know 100% of Ramayana, isn't it? Because they watch the TV serial. Because they used to act like Ravana in plays when they were younger. There's endless details in this lovely user's manual, scripture, on how to go from being dependently joyous to being independently joyous. Our young adults, over the last 3 days, have been exposed to a portion of Ramayana, which I'm going to introduce to all of you and give you a review of also. And then I'll share in this portion what Guruji, Swami Tejamayinanda, loves the most, what I love the most, and we'll continue. We're in Kishkinda Kanda. Vali has just been defeated by Bhagavan Rama. And Bhagavan Rama is so compassionate, he tells Vali, you've been running for so long, go and rest. Enjoy being in the kingdom. Enjoy being Kapisha, the lord of the monkeys. So Sugriva, he doesn't think twice. Yes, done. And he goes. And Bhagavan Rama says, it's Chatur Masa anyways. It's the rainy period where you can't travel. And Bhagavan Rama and Sri Lakshmana, they can't go to the kingdom. So they have to live outside of the kingdom. They're living in the jungle. In North America, we have forests. In Bharat, they have jungles. In North America, we have deer. There they have tigers. So they're literally living in the jungle. And symbolically, this Chatur Masa, which means 4 months, is so relevant to us today. How many of you rushed to come here this morning? People are so proud of it. They're like, look at me, look at me. The period of time we live in is called Kali Yuga. And Kali we know to mean selfishness and quarrel. But Kali also means fast. Everything moves fast. The internet moves fast. Planes move fast. Coffee is made fast. Within fast food, there's faster food. Correct? And all of this technology we have is designed to save us time, but who has more time now? Correct? We're supposed to have more time and we feel like we have less time. And not just all of you. If we walk to any class, they would say the same. Those in grade 4, no time. Those in grade 1, don't know how to say time, but I don't have it. These 4 months are a retreat from being busy. Our retreat is a retreat from being busy. This Sunday morning is a retreat from being busy. Because if there's no time, there's no thinking. Only where there's time can there be thinking. So don't interpret these 4 months as laziness, hibernation. They're trying to assess what is their vision statement. Why are they here? As Bhagavan Rama is with Sri Lakshmana, Bhagavan Rama starts to speak about different subjects to Sri Lakshmana. Kahata anuja sana kata aneka. Bhagavan Rama is speaking to his younger brother on so many subjects. So many stories. What are these about? Politics, gossip, rumors, problems. No, I'm being sarcastic here. Thinking, really? Bhagati, which means bhakti, devotion. Virati, which means independence, vairagya. Nripaniti, that doesn't mean politics, it means leadership. Viveka, or insight, prioritization. This is what's discussed. Now think. They're in the middle of the jungle. They literally can't go anywhere and do anything. And what are they doing? Discussing these most evolved subjects, not wasting time at all. They have all the time in the world, literally, but they're not wasting any time. Varashakala mega naba CHYK, the clouds, because of the monsoons, are really dark and they're creating all of this shade everywhere. Garjata lagata parama sohai, and the thunder is creating a most beautiful environment. So they're enjoying being in nature. Now Bhagavan Rama continues to share with Sri Lakshmana. He's experiencing nature with his eyes, but his vision is totally different. And I'd like to share with all of you what our students have been learning so far. We've gone through 10 out of 42 experiences Bhagavan Rama has had. So here's a review for all of you. Bhagavan Rama sees his experiences of peacocks. That's his experience, but his vision is on seekers. His eyes see the peacocks, but his intellect is on seekers. Like a peacock dances when there's thunder and rain, a seeker, a household seeker, meaning us, when we meet someone who loves God, we dance too. We feel so happy when they come into our lives, when they come to our homes. So he makes that comparison, a peacock to a seeker. So this is his vision. Now this may be too abstract for us, maybe. So what we did is we simplified this more into a mission statement. What do we do with this vision? What we learn from this vision is to be supportive. Many families, if someone is a seeker in your family, you feel left out, isn't it? That why don't you spend time with me? How come you're coming to this retreat? Etc., etc. Already it's hard to be a seeker in the world, isn't it? When we meet other seekers, we should support them like this householder would meet a sadhu, meet someone who's trying to be better, to be supportive. That's our first virtue. Now this may be too abstract for us too, so we came up with an action statement. Here's our action. Speak positively. From this vision, what we should bring into our lives right now, the verb we should bring into our lives is to speak positively. If we speak positively, we will naturally be more supportive. And if we're supportive, we'll be more like that householder who appreciates those who are God-oriented. Cool? Practical? That's 1 out of 42 teachings. I'll go to number 2. Bhagavan Rama hears thunder. That's his experience. Thunder. But his vision is on his heart. Like thunder makes your heart skip a beat, his heart is skipping a beat because he misses Mother Sita. He actually doesn't say Sita, he says Priya. Priya could be his father, Priya could be his wife. Priya is us. Bhagavan Rama is our original parent. He's always calling us back, but we keep looking the other way, so he misses us. When we hear thunder, we're scared. When he hears thunder, he has this feeling of missing. This is the vision. The mission statement is to be caring. to be caring. Who do we care about the most? Ourselves, no? How do you know you care about someone? You think about them. Who do we think about the most? Ourselves, isn't it? What people are saying about us, the image that we're creating. Be caring means to think about others, to be empathetic. And we already know that. We know that virtue we should have. How? So our action statement, listen attentively. Listen attentively. That's a great sign of care, is to listen to someone carefully, isn't it? Now when we listen to debate, isn't it? Not to understand. And so much of that is just sheer distraction. I was sharing with our youth, the average person looks at their phone 150 times a day. 150 times a day. So I ask people to change their backgrounds to an image of God. At least see God 150 times a day before you see Google Maps or WhatsApp or whatever is going on. And so really that art of listening is gone too. Correct? Because we're listening and we're here. How do you know someone's texting and driving? Their head just keeps bobbing like this. Listen attentively. Our son Vyasa, any infant, is a unitasker. He only does one thing at a time. He literally copies everything Sheila and I do. He's listening attentively, not just with his ears, but with his eyes. And that's why he learns a new word every day. It makes Sheila and I so much more careful about how we're speaking, how we're acting. He cares about us. He's not thinking about himself. Any infant, okay, not just my son. Any infant is like that. So be caring, listen attentively. Third, Bhagavan Rama sees lightning. His experiences of lightning. Remember, monsoon season. What is his vision on? Relationships. This is so cool. Though he sees lightning, his vision is on relationships. He says mean people are like lightning. They come into your life fast and they leave your life fast. They appear, they get what they want, and then what happens? They disappear. That mean people are like that. That's how their relationships are based. And now as we're hearing this, we're all thinking mean people are like that. What if we're that mean person? What if we're like lightning? So our mission statement for this vision is be independent. A dependent person is always planning on what they get, isn't it? I should be friends with this person because they have season tickets to the Pistons, as an example. They're dependent, but not an independent person. They're in that relationship for the relationship. When we see sad people, we don't flinch at all. When we see happy people, hey, what's wrong with you? Isn't it, if someone compliments you, don't you think twice, what do they want from me? That independence is not so strong anymore. So our virtue is be independent. And our action is observe lightly. Observe lightly. If you observe someone being mean, if you observe them, that means you're less influenced by them, isn't it? But if you observe deeply, as in if you get involved, we start to be heavily influenced by them. But if I observe lightly, I don't become that mean person. Like your cars, if you actually report how much you drive, your insurance would be so much. So we always report, yeah, we only drive this amount. Observe lightly. The fourth experience of Bhagavan Rama is he sees the clouds. And he sees that the clouds are so heavy and dense with rain, so they're close to the ground. Those cumulonimbus clouds he's seeing in the jungle. And what is his vision on? Wise people. Wise people always bend down in humility. Vidya dadati, vinaya. It is the arrogant that never bend, isn't it? And you hear that quote about in a storm, it's those rigid trees that are picked up and tossed around, not grass. Grass is so flexible. It goes this way, it goes this way. So those clouds are making Bhagavan Rama think about wise people. And Guruji has shared such a powerful message here. He says, knowledge that increases one's pride is a sign of ignorance. Knowledge that increases your pride is a sign of ignorance. I had asked our young adults to assess from the last retreat to this retreat if they've become more humble or more arrogant. And some were honest that they became more arrogant. Most were dishonest that they became more humble. And for those who did say that they became more arrogant, generally, what a wasted year, isn't it? That the purpose of why I'm here is to be infinite, to be all-encompassing, to be empathetic, but I'm only becoming more separate. That's a waste. The action from this vision, the mission from this vision is to be grateful. Be grateful. Someone who's grateful is not demanding, correct? Someone who's grateful doesn't have such high expectations. Someone who's grateful is more flexible. They're just happy to be there. They're happy to be with you. That's a sign of wisdom, isn't it? As parents, I'm sure one of the most frustrating parts of being a parent is being around or having a child who has this sense of entitlement, isn't it? I'm entitled to this car. I'm entitled to this home. I'm entitled to do what I want. That's really frustrating when you're interacting with people who have this entitlement. And I point out a difference between Canadian culture and American culture. I was born and raised and sort of live in Canada, Niagara Falls. When I graduated from high school, I worked in the summer, and I went to university. In America, when you graduate from high school, what happens? You have this huge open house with so many people that come and cakes and banners. You're expected to graduate from high school, no? Why are we rewarding that which is supposed to happen? And there's a difference. We're only 45 minutes from the border, but we don't do that in Canada. And I was sharing, give me presents because I'm breathing right now. That sense of entitlement we sometimes subtly encourage too. The virtue is be grateful. Thanksgiving is coming up. What are you going to do? Thursday football, Friday eat, Saturday sleep, Sunday shop, Monday shop. Then Tuesday, even though it's Giving Tuesday, over. Our action for the fourth experience of Bhagavan Rama is to accept cheerfully. Accept cheerfully. Whatever comes, treat it like prasad. That's a lovely way to live, is to be accepting, isn't it? And what's really fine about this, who do you accept the most? Yourself. Who do you get angry at the least? Yourself. The antidote to anger, and we all have anger problems, is acceptance. Okay, so 4 experiences, 4 visions, 4 missions, 4 actions. The missions are virtues, the actions are verbs. Simple English. We can do this. The 5th is Bhagavan Rama, his experiences of mountains and the lashing rain on those mountains. And his vision is of noble people who endure harassment, taunts from others. Mountain with rain, he thinks of noble people. That's his vision. Noble people don't react. That's what makes them noble, isn't it? Noble people respond. Noble people forgive. Don't retaliate. That endurance is there. In Sanskrit, we call that titiksha. And our mission for the fifth experience is to be enduring. Be enduring. For our youth, yesterday we played football for almost 2 hours. Football actually means soccer. I have to translate. I'm in America right now. And it was really fascinating because when we were beginning to play, everyone was so cold. How are we going to play? It's cold outside and so on. But once we started playing, coats were coming off. People were kicking each other. People were sweating and so on. And so much endurance came out because they were tuned into the game. But when I'm not tuned into the game, I just whine, then, isn't it? I just complain. And I always think of my parents, like perhaps your parents or you. Traveling is hard. Traveling with an infant is harder. Traveling with an infant and a pregnant wife is even harder. It is not easy. You hardly sleep, you hardly eat, you have to process, you have to listen. But then I think about my parents, that they literally emigrated from one hemisphere and immigrated into another hemisphere. And if they didn't work, they would have died. See, if I don't work, I'll still come to your home for dinner. But they didn't have that home to go to for dinner. They were living with other families, etc., etc., etc. How much titiksha my parents, you, would have had to exhibit to be where you are now. How much of racism there is today. Imagine how it would have been in the 70s, in the 60s, and so on. Without titiksha or endurance, nothing happens. You can't play soccer. You can't be in work. You definitely can't be happily married. Correct? How much endurance is required to be enduring? And our action for this vision is to chant steadily. Chant steadily. When someone's harassing you, when someone's being negative, what should you be chanting? Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Who got poison given to them? Bhagavan Shiva, no? So if we remember that, we can take that poison and still smile like he does, like she does. Chant steadily, especially in moments of intense negativity. Number 6, Bhagavan Rama sees these streams. That's his experience. But because of so much rain, these streams are swelling. They're breaking their banks. They're overflowing. And his vision is on people who have fickle esteem. People whose esteem is, I'm saying fickle, but it's actually low self-esteem. People with low self-esteem, as soon as they get a little bit of money or a little bit of popularity, what do? They just go on talking about it, isn't it? Look at me, look at me, look at me. That attention-seeking syndrome. And I pointed out to our youth, maybe you can get this answer. They didn't get it, okay? What demographic of society do you feel is most conceited, brags the most? Pick a group of society. Teenage boys, isn't it? That puberty period, they just keep talking about how handsome they are when some of them are not. Talking about how athletic they are, how popular they are. And really it shows such a deep sense of insecurity that they have to talk about all of that all the time, no? Yes, teenage boys, I was like that too. This is my experience. And now as I think about it, I would never want to be my friend back in the day. So that swelling stream is like someone with fickle esteem. And now, our mission from this vision is to be inclusive. to be inclusive. When someone has low self-esteem, we shouldn't call them out on that. It only makes them have lower self-esteem. We should be inclusive of them, that there's something missing in their lives, and if we include them, hopefully that missing will go away. And I reference bullying here. In some of our Chinmay Mission Centers, we're doing these really cool programs on mental health. I'm going to Raleigh in a few weeks. We're doing a workshop on cyberbullying. Because in our community, we think it doesn't happen when it does. In our community, we don't talk about it when we should. A bully is someone who has such low self-esteem that the only way for them to come up is to make others feel lower. And what do we do with bullies? We isolate them when we should actually be inclusive of them. That's the only long-term solution. Our action for this vision is to smile intelligently. When someone is being a braggart, just smile. Smile intelligently. Don't smile too much because then you'll be endorsing their conceit. But don't smile too little because they'll feel like, hey, you don't acknowledge me either. So I made our youth give a half smile, like this. So that's 6. And there's some more, but I may not have time to go through all of them, so I'm going to continue. Our students studied 10, okay? How many experiences are there total? 42. I've given you a tasting of 6. Now I will introduce new ones for all of you and our youth. This is Guruji's, Swami Tej Ramayana's favorite experience and vision. Okay? So Guruji, and I'd studied Ramayana, the entire Ramayana from Guruji, so I distinctly made this note when he had mentioned that. He says, Phule Kamala Soha Sara Kaisa. This is Avadi. It's not Sanskrit, not Hindi. He says that a lake is beautiful, but more beautiful with lotuses. A lake is beautiful. We have so many lakes here. But the beauty of the lake is enhanced by flowers, water lilies, lotuses, yes? So that's the experience, but what does his intellect say? Nirguna Brahma Saguna Bhe Jaise. That Nirguna Brahman, the infinite, is lovely, but when that infinitude is expressed as Bhagavan, as the creator, there is even more beauty. What a lovely teaching. Can you have a relationship with the infinite? You can't. You can only be infinity. You can't have a relationship with infinity. So all of you, be infinite. We're looking to each other. Where is infinity? But it's actually the expression of infinity as Ishvara that you can have a relationship with. And where does the Creator take you? Back to yourself. And that's why Sri Ramana says, if you have a body, Brahman has a body. If you don't have a body, then Brahman also doesn't have a body. We do have bodies, we identify with them, which is why Bhagavan is so important. And if I can extend this a little bit more, I think it's Sri Kabir who says, when I come into a room and Bhagavan and Guru are there, who do I prostrate to first? And what is the answer? To the Guru, because without the Guru you would never know that's Bhagavan, isn't it? It is the Guru who introduces you to God. And God introduces you to yourself using this example. And we're smiling, we're nodding. It is beautiful. It's lovely. But what do I do with it? How do I take this swadhyaya to tapa, to the uncontrolled environment? So here is our mission. The verb that we should bring to our lives based on this vision is be generous. Be generous. Why? Isn't the infinite being generous in trying to help us get to the infinite? We should be generous. In other words, be expressive of all of the privilege we have. Everyone here has privilege. Knowing where your next meal is, that's privilege. Not worrying about your safety, that's also privilege. Not everyone has access to that, correct? A decent education, that's privilege too. Sitting here is privilege. Sitting here, even more privilege. I am very aware of the privileges that I have. When I cross the border, it's easy. I'm a Canadian, they have my background check, etc. I'm married, I live there. Other people have to wait 2 hours to cross the border. That's my privilege. I'm super grateful for that. Recently, I didn't get TSA pre-check, and I was so frustrated. And when I waited in the line with everyone else, I was like, what am I doing here? Security? What kind of people are these? I'm being sarcastic. And then I realized that how much I was taking for granted that I had that TSA pre-check. For decades, I waited in the line with everyone else. All of a sudden, I feel I'm better than that. It was a great reality check for me. Be generous. That's how we'll start to be like that lake that has those lotuses, like the infinite that comes out as the creator. Has someone else in the past told you that we should be more generous? Right? We've heard this 1,000 times. So what is our action statement? Commit recklessly. And I thought a lot about whether I should include that word recklessly, and I did. Now I'm not taking it back. They're all watching also. Commit recklessly. Here I mean commit to the sacred. Commit to self-development recklessly. If someone says, can you teach Bhagavan? Don't think about it. Just say yes. In some religions, you have to commit your income before you even get it, isn't it? And what's magical about this is your whole life will revolve around that commitment to fulfill that commitment. But we're so reserved and hesitating when it comes to giving ourselves to the community, to society. And if you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. If you think you can't do it, you can't do it. But if you think you can do it, you can do it. When we go on our yatras and we go hiking, I see such a distinction between those who think they're going to fall. They do fall. They don't die, they don't get hurt, they just fall. And those who feel that, I'm going to keep my footing stable and hike, they do. It's not so much physical as it is mental. Every year, a large group of us run the Cleveland Half Marathon. A lot of people here have too. And it's so easy to give up. Who does anything over and over again for 2 hours other than sleep? And you're just running. Why? So they have these awesome signs that make you laugh. Like one sign said, life is short, running makes it long. And when you have that laughter, like you really just, this is why I'm here. You recommit to that running. Commit recklessly. In my life, in my work, I commit the dakshina I'm going to get ahead of time. I already committed to centers that need dakshina as they're building their centers. A year in advance, I'll say, this is how much I'm going to share with you. And I don't even have it. But magically, I've never fallen short of those commitments. And this is not Vivek. This is sheerly, Bhagavan feels that this should happen. So that's Guruji's favorite. Now I shall share my favorite, and this is actually the last of the examples that is given in this section. Bhumi jiva sankula rahe gai sarada ritu pai, which means in these teachings there's a shift from the monsoon season to the autumn season, correct? 4 months. That's when the travels continued. In the autumn season, all of the insects that thrive in the rain, when those rains stop, those insects do too, correct? So that's the experience. The insects die away. But what is the vision? Sadguru mile jahi jimi samshaya brahma samudai. Like, here's the vision, when one develops a relationship with their Sadguru, all samshaya means doubts, and Brahma, delusions, they die away too. What a lovely, solid vision, isn't it? Now you think to yourself, prior to coming to this ashram, how clear were you about Sanatana Dharma, Bhagavad Gita, happiness? Now aren't we more clear, less confused? Here is our action from this vision. This is our mission from this vision. Be sincere. Be sincere. Who chooses who? Does a disciple choose a guru, or does a guru choose a disciple? I don't feel a lot of clarity going on right now. Okay, by show of hands, how many of you feel the guru chooses the shishya? Okay, shishya chooses the guru. Okay, we're 50-50. No votes? How many no votes? Externally, the guru chooses the shishya, externally. But it is internally that the shishya chooses the guru. When you are sincere about happiness, you're tired of dependent happiness, you want independent happiness, the scriptures are promising a Sadguru will come into your life and guide you to that independence. But if I'm casual about happiness, I just want to be a little bit more popular and some peace, then that sincerity is not going to be strong enough to send that light to the multiverse for the guru to see that light and come. That's why I'm saying, be sincere, and someone will come and help. In my own life, when Swami Tejamananda stayed in our home in 1999 in Niagara Falls, I did everything possible to avoid him. I literally climbed in through the basement window so I wouldn't have to walk through that room where I'd have to interact with him. Remember that teenager I was talking about? And then fast forward 5 years. 2004, August, I'm in Toronto. Guruji's about to start his discourse. I run up to him and I say, Guruji, I'm thinking about joining the next Vedanta course. And he smiles and slaps me in the back and says, learn as much Sanskrit as you can before you come. And you see, in those 5 years, I don't know Swami Tejamananda. I'm rewinding, okay? I just know he's the head of Chinmay Mission. So what? He doesn't know me. He doesn't come to Niagara Falls. Nobody comes to Niagara Falls. But what had happened, if I can infer, that I became more sincere about wanting to be independently joyous. I'd finished business school. I was done with commercial real estate. Nothing was bringing me that contentment. And how this casual conversation allowed me to go and be there. Be sincere. And here is your action statement. Analyze regularly. Analyze regularly. Analyze from last year to this year. Have you become more humble? Have you become more happy? Analyze you. We're all consultants, correct? So we consult about this, we consult about that. We're all people who give advice. But imagine consulting yourself, advising yourself, analyze, and if you're not being more sincere, be sincere. And if you are being more sincere, keep doing what you're doing. So our youth have now studied 12 experiences, visions, missions, and actions out of 42. So there's lots to read now. And all of you have studied 6 plus 2, 8 out of 42. You have more to read. So now I leave you all with a RAY. What does RAY stand for? Reflection Adventure of the Year. Until we meet again. We've met each other 5 of the last 6 years. We'll meet each other again soon. Particularly for our youth. You've now studied 12 visions, missions, actions. How many months are there in a year? Magically, there's 12. November just started. Daylight savings time just started, ended. Deepavali is about to begin. So for the month of November, that whole month should be dedicated to being supportive. That whole month, your action should be speak positively. And after you internalize that for 1 month, December. December is be what? Caring. How? Listen attentively. For all the adults, you can choose those other 4, okay? You have 8. Doesn't mean 4 months off, Chaturmasa. You come up with your own missions and actions for the remaining 4.